All right, so I think we're live. Let me double check real quick, guys. It's just your boy Hobie Hill, um, talking about some Dungeons and Dragons stuff and giving you some general updates real quick. Let me check the Facebook to make sure I am live and that I can hear myself. So that way, if I'm sitting here talking for freaking ever and I'm not being heard, I don't know until someone comes on and tells me. So, uh, yep, and that I can hear myself. So cool. Yep. So I am most definitely live currently. I don't know if anyone's going to come onto the game or anything, but or onto the chat. But I hope you do. Hey Shelby, how are you, ma'am? James, my boy, how are you, sir? So the general discussion today will be about note taking. But first, as always, I like to do a little bit of rat killing for you guys, especially guys who have bad Kickstarters or are curious about other projects that we have going on, and give some thank yous and I love yous and all that stuff. So first of all, I'm going to start with, yeah, man, Permian was actually really decent. Lots of people. The place was packed. In case y'all don't know, we just got done with Permian Basin Comic Con down in Midland, Texas. I think there's right around 8,000 people, give or take. Place was packed, had a lot of vendors. Once again, I was the only vendor like me, so that's always nice when you're not really competing with yourself. James Smith over there runs does a lot of custom building of, and I'm probably gonna butcher it for him, so please forgive me. Um, does a ton of stuff for tabletop, like warfighter games, tanks. I think does a lot of 40K, things of that nature. But check him out. He's in the comments. You can post, links or whatever. So, oh, and there will be a giveaway. So if you ain't got nothing to do for the next, yeah, props and war game. There we go. If you ain't got nothing to do for the next however long, there will be in fact be a giveaway as we lead off through this. So there is that. To give a few updates real quick for Kickstarter, the tome. The editor is currently working on the pages. They're just, grinding away at them. Basically, it just takes time. So thank you for being patient. We want to get that to you as quick as possible. Spell circles, we're still waiting on the laser company. I have ordered another possible fix. I have no idea if it's going to work. I hope it does. And if it does, awesome. That solves a lot of headache and issues with lawyers and stuff like that. But that being said, we're not anywhere close to being that done just because, I can't do anything. I just really can't. Which stinks, I know. Um, Section 2, the Carnival Madness, that is it. It is the art is complete. I am waiting on the art editor to finish with the tome. If he takes a long time, we may end up hiring another editor, but we kind of like the style that he brings for us. He does a lot of stuff that helps us out as far as how he writes and how he corrects and makes things better for us. We by no means are grammar gurus. We're just not. Um, yeah, so dissection 2 is well on its way. It won't take very long. Once we get the start, then we'll send out the codes for you to print those guys out. So that'll be super exciting. Future projects now. Going on to future projects, we of course have Junkrat Racing. So this is like, I guess, Levi Clark's kind of bread and butter here on this guy. I'm just kind of spearheading the other parts of it and just helping him with the process and everything like that. But it's going well so far. We really love it. We're a huge fan of it. I know you guys are going to love it. If you like tabletop, you like kind of build your own thing type games, then you're going to love this. Hey guys, if you're just tuning in, don't forget giveaway during the video, so pay attention and wait for it because I'm not going to tell you all of it up front. Because if you watch the whole video, you deserve to be rewarded. Anyways, so Junkrat Racing will be super awesome. We're hoping that we can blow that project out of the water and really make that game affordable for you guys. That's one of our main goals. Almost anything we do is to make stuff affordable. And but also for us to keep on being in business. We want to, if we could give it for free, we'd love to. But Gaslands, you have to help me out on that, James. So, yeah, so Junkrat Racing will be kind of a build your own kind of car game, but not quite. I don't want to give too much away because we're not haven't developing the Kickstarter yet, but we're well on our way with art in the project. We're dumping some funds into that from our Kickstarters and from other revenue sources like the Etsy and the website and things of that nature, and of course Comic Cons. So there's that. So I hope everyone can hear me okay. Let's see. Some of our other projects, as you guys know, the Sewers Below is a awesome project that we have going on. Our pals over there in Greece with, gosh darn it, I'm going to go blank. I should have wrote it down before I started this whole process. Crippled God Foundry. They do a bunch of tiles. We have since added some other components to it, like basically print on demand for you guys that want to, number one, not have to pay a ton of money for some tiles that we're going to hopefully get cast if we do that well, but we may have them 3D printed if there's not much demand on that. But this gives you the option for you to print your own tiles and stuff like that. As long as you're using them just for your own games and things of that nature, then we've got no problem with you printing as many tiles as you want. Now, if you start selling them, naturally we're going to have a problem. But I mean, honestly, we would probably never find out anyways. So it's what it is, and we want to give you everything that we can. And honestly, once we get the board game out there and the games out there, that we know people will love it and people will support the project. But that one we're super excited for because it's like my baby I've been working on for gosh dang 3 years, and some of it was really simple as far as most things go is design goes, but there's also some complicated parts to it as well. And that's just as things go. You learn and adapt and change. We have the 3D models for the minis on those guys. Yeah, James. So Junkrat Racing is kind of like the Mad Max type build your own cars, kind of sort of, but it's more. We'll see what we can do on the Kickstarter and everything, but we want to make it as awesome as we can, but also within the realm of like, hey, things cost a crap ton of money to make things, and it's insane when you get into it and you learn it. But anyways, so yeah. Oh, hey, I forgot to update Tier 4. Tier 4 is still in the printing process. It'll be done soon. We'll get to you. Yeah, so there's the Sewers Below. Super excited about that project. I really hope that goes well. I have a guy, awesome artist, working on the comic book style format for that guy. And we hope it's really awesome. I mean, the art's awesome and the module's cool, but I mean, it's a module, so whatever. My whole idea of that is to try to get more people into D&D and more DMs into D&D to make it easier for them to they see this box and they're like, cool. And I know WotC puts out those really cool, with the miniatures and stuff like that. And they're cool, but really the miniatures suck. They're cheap and their details are not that great. And really, it was them making tons of money on a project that they put half a mind into. And they had the cardboard tiles and all of it's great. Don't get me wrong, it's great. It works, and but I'm one of those guys that I love everything about the immersiveness of it. Like, not I want to be my character or nothing like that, but like I love when I'm playing the game to try to really get into the game and really try to play the game. That's kind of part of the video today is why I'm doing the video, and that and to give updates for everything. So it's going to be kind of boring for a little while until I get into some stuff. Bryce says hi. Hi, Bryce. Why do you have my kiddo? It's 3:30. He would be out of school right now. Huh. I didn't know you're picking up. Hi, Steffi. Hi, Bryce. Harry. Sorry, my son is saying hi. I'm not sorry for that. Love that kid. Love you, buddy. Anyways, so there's the little update on the Sewers Below. We have a couple other projects that we're super excited about. The class decks. You might have seen me sharing some really cool art via the Facebooks or the Instagrams or maybe even the Twitters, the universal social media that it is what it is. And you can't do business without it, unfortunately. So, yeah. So the class decks are much like our tier 1 through 4 decks, except these are geared specifically to classes. So you have, the barbarian, bard, cleric, druid, fighter, monk, paladin, ranger, rogue, sorcerer, warlock, and wizard. All those classes, right? Yeah, I don't blame you. Um, all those classes have, unique, specific type styles and ideas behind what they are. And you may have seen some of the deck art that one of our awesome artists has done. And he's from England, and I'm going to feature the artist here in just a second, so give me a break. Um, anyways, where was that? Oh, class decks, yeah. So basically, those decks will revolve around the idea that you know if you're a barbarian, you might want certain items. If you're a cleric, you might want certain items. Or if you're a wizard, you don't need armor in your magic item surplus. And so that, I mean, you just don't. So the idea of this is basically that you'll have an entire deck of magic item cards that gear to your specific class. And some will take from the currency of rages and keys and spell slots, and they will adapt off of that. And some will require attunement by wizards, sorcerers, bards, clerics, depending on the situation, right? Not saying that it has to have that, but that you as a wizard or a warlock may be able to transpose some of those items. But ideally, that this is those items geared to that, and the art is going to be themed in that very much that nature of what at least I think or we think that a fantasy wizard might like to wear. I mean, granted, there's no specifics because you really don't know, and it's your character. But and you can also flavor it up and change whatever you want about it. So we know those will be super awesome. We're looking forward to getting those launched after the tome is at least printed and Tier 4 is completely done. We don't want to launch another project until we have that much done. Once Tier 4 is bought and paid, well, actually it's already bought and paid for, but once it is on the boat or on the plane or it is on its way to here and it's out of our hands and we're just waiting at that point, then we'll feel comfortable by starting another project because basically we're starting over and we're doing the whole legwork again, right? Hey, Ashley. So there's that part. And then we have another cool concept that I really love, and there's some other ones out here, but these really come down to the cost effectiveness of them and being able to get them out to people at a price that we think is fair and being able to move the product itself. If I order 150 of something and I only sell one of them, why not order 150? You know what I mean? And so what we have here is we have these awesome journals, and these are some of the very first prints that I've test printed. My boy Chad Ert, I'm gonna butcher that. Chad EHR Erhart. It's Erhart, and he's got one of those last names. It's kind of hard to read, but he's the one that developed the character sheet behind this guy. And I've added some other little flavor pieces that's actually really beautiful, right? And so you'll actually be able to get it in this copy, this version right here, right? And it's going to basically be the character sheet to end all character sheets in the print format. Obviously, we can't compete with some things because obvious reasons, right? So the idea is for you to, get everything here. You know what I mean? Everything you want and everything you'll ever need. You know what I mean? The backpack, I love some of the simple concepts of the backpack that you can put with encumbrance and items and all these note pages that you'll be able to doodle in and things of that nature. And this actually corresponds to the reason of the video and the reason behind the video why we're doing the thing. Oh, hey, Ashley. Yeah, sorry. I'm trying not to butcher the last name. But yeah, so he did almost all of these. I think I added a little tiny bit of things. But it was very minimal. Like the deity pages and things of that nature. Those are really super awesome. Because, even if you don't, maybe you got a deity or maybe something you idolize or something like that in the game as a character. It's got some of these really awesome important NPCs and things of that nature and where you might find them. Overall, super awesome. Super excited about this. Super excited to work with Chad. Chad and his group of girls, they've been nothing but super supportive of me and my projects, and so they're great people. They would do all natural 20s on Twitch, and they stream The Goofy Girls kind of fun, playful. Not quite an adult show, but I definitely watch a couple streams just to make sure that your kids are able to watch that. They're fun, playful, and they're super cool. Yeah, and Teresa Reader says, shout out to Chad. So it's got some of these Malice and map pages. And yeah, I've got them labeled map, 2, 1. But there's no reason why you can't, write your own, say map 2A or map 2B or and so on and so forth, right? So again, guys, don't forget the giveaway. It will include dice. It's one of the things going away. Ooh. Yeah, and so more and more pages, more smaller grids here, and then it goes all the way to some hex and lots of hex pages. I mean, and this will be the idea that, hopefully, hey, DM, Misha, what's up, man? How's everything going? Again, guys, this is a live vid, so if I'm talking, if you're watching this later on YouTube, sorry, this is the way I do it because I like to interact with people, and it really sucks when you're just talking to yourself. I want to be honest with you, some of these video people do that. They're just like talking to themselves in tutorials. I'm like, yeah, but anyways, so there's that part of that project. Another part of that project, which I really think is going to be the crazier version of it. You know what I mean? So, and this will actually be included in the giveaway. This is the rough draft, granted. So give me a break. Rensabelle, say hi to my daughter. Hi, Rensabelle. You having fun at Steffi's? Love you. Anyways, sorry. So this is the World Creation Notebook by us. And this is kind of cool. This is more or less a way of, I guess, making it easier for you to be organized and things of that nature, right? It's just part of the overall component of making it awesome for you and giving you a product that you'll actually use and it's not going to sit on the shelf, which, I mean, nothing wrong with sitting on the shelf. But I got a bunch of books over there that I've never really looked at. I ordered them or bought them because I was like, oh, yeah, I'll look at this. And I probably will one day. But my idea is if you're a creator and you want to create, D&D or Pathfinder or whatever, this book will be for you. This book will work for you, and it'll be completely session. It won't matter. There may be some tropes because I mostly deal with fantasy, right? I deal with mostly fantasy tropes. I mean, I like sci-fi, but it's not my bread and butter. I don't understand as much as fantasy, or I'm sorry, sci-fi as I do fantasy. It's just not my. Oh yeah, man, I'll send you some Misha, for sure, man. I'd love to for those kids, especially this. I would love to see some of the worlds that kids could create with this little tool. I mean, granted, it's a little bit maybe overbearing for some kids, but some kids would just take it and run with it. Because if you're ever like me, and you're reading a book, if you're you're in the library and you're trying to pick out a book for AR or whatever class you were in, I always went to the books that were almost the thickest and had maps. You guys can see my my fantasy world right in here, and yeah, so I created that entire world, out of I don't know why, I just did, but for my D&D games and my role playing games and stuff like that. So I have my entire world over here with a cool map, and I love it. So, and this is that gets you started on that. You know what I mean? So what you'll see in here is you'll see stuff like this right here. You know what I mean? Where it basically makes it simple for you to jog your memory, to think about the things you need to do with everything, right? So it's going to have like, and I'm going to add some notes and stuff here, but I don't want to super drag it down with the notes because I feel like this is your world, you're going to create it, and I may add some little tidbits here and there to kind of maybe give you a push in the right direction, or maybe the way I think you should go, and I hope I don't do that. So yeah, so it's got the world details in a simple format, very simple, easy to understand. It's got Arctic, desert, jungle, mountainous, plains, swamps, volcanic, uninhabitable, wilderness, oceanic, subterranean, and additional, just for things maybe I didn't cover, or maybe there's some I ran out, or I didn't add enough of a certain type that you want, right? Maybe you're dealing with solely a ice world or something like that, or like water world where it's all water, and maybe some subterranean parts to that, right? I mean, this is Little Mermaid or something like that. No big deal. It's your world. Do whatever you want. That's part of this idea. So yeah, so it's got that, and the whole idea is for you to like write it down and think about it and add those parts and then add them later on to kind of flush the world out, right? And this is like the thought of you going, okay, do I need volcanic region? Maybe I do. Maybe that would add a dynamic. I mean, we all know Mordor, right? Super ashen wasteland, uninhabitable other than the orcs that live there, and they probably don't even want to live there themselves. You know what I mean? They're like, this is sucks, but I'm really scared of the gigantic flaming eye guy. And then it gets into some really cool stuff here. So I really like this concept of breaking the world down into a actual globe format, where you're actually able to globe it out, and where you're able to see the Arctic regions, the subarctic, the temperate, the subtropical, and the tropical regions as the hemisphere drops and lowers. You know what I mean? And then it's got a really cool component that ties to some of these pages here. Sorry, I'm trying to get y'all to see. So these little pies go here, and so like the idea is like you can kind of, sorry again, you can kind of black some of these guys out here. You know what I mean? And kind of draw your general world layout right there. And then it gets into the real big pieces to where, okay, now I'm drawing the entire map, right? And it's got the area details on the other side. So you're drawing and you're detailing, drawing and you're detailing. And then that goes on for quite a while because obviously there's a lot of regions you're trying to draw, which I think is important because, I mean, number one, the idea of like a region is very massive. Like I consider a region to be like, let's see here, what would I consider that? You know, this region here would be a good, I mean, it'd be like Greenland or like a good chunk of Canada. That'd be its own region. Part of like Russia would cover a large portion of its own region. You know what I mean? Like to give it a real world example. And so, and I got some more work to do on this thing, some other things to add because this thing's already up to like, you know, 50 pages, and I'm not even done with the things that I'd love to, for you to be able to add to your world, or you know, help you flush out for your world. So it goes into area details, and then it gets into kingdoms, you know, and there's a kind of argumentative debate about how you do this. Some people like to build from the top down, and some people like to build from the bottom up. And so I have two opinions about this. I think if you're trying to create a fantasy world, you build from the top down. If you're trying to run a D&D game, you build from the bottom up. So in this aspect, you can do it both ways. To where, say you, because in a D&D game, you don't need to flesh out almost anything, honestly. Your players are going to derail you. They're going to throw you for a loop, and you're going to think that you have it all figured out, and then you're going to realize you don't, because they're going to go come up with some crazy themes. You know your friends. You know the shenanigans you got to. Don't be sitting there pretending y'all didn't do some crazy stuff. Even if you were closet nerds who sat at home all the time, y'all still got in some trouble. You know your friends, they're going to do the same thing, but in a fantasy world where there's magic and dragons and mermaids. Yeah, that's your friends. So, so it breaks the kingdoms down pretty cool. It gets in an area where you can kind of draw out the layout, gives you a lot of the aspects of, you know, kind of what you would think they need to go. You know, and I'm going to add some banners and stuff in here so you can draw your own banners and draw your own layouts. Then it goes down to the city and towns, right? So a city or town I consider is large enough to really draw on its own, or to have at least a little bit of a layout on there, right? Maybe not exactly draw it out, but give a decent amount of information, right? Before you know you're marrying the bad guy. I guess I missed it. So for whatever reason, the Facebook comments don't scroll. So if I forget to scroll, I may miss to read something. And there's several cities and towns. You may have actually, I don't know if you guys noticed that I posted a straw poll that took you to, you know, how many kingdoms are in your fantasy world. What I was doing is I was polling for this. I was trying to figure out how many, you know, kingdoms I should add to this book. And, you know, everyone's like 6+. And I'm like, man, you know, that's a lot of kingdoms. You know, I think in my fantasy world, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, 6 or 7ish, I guess. I guess I do have a lot. Huh. And that's not counting the dwarven. Oh yeah, yeah. I think that's a reference. Ashley there's referencing to their love relationship with the Strahd, the old Strahd vampire guy. And so then it goes down into the villages. So you got this village concept, right, which is much simpler, easier to understand. I think it lays it out, and it's got several per page because I don't feel like there's as much to there that you can't, add later on. And also, there will be additional note pages that you can, label and stuff like that. And also, what I freaking love is you get a damn sticker pack on this thing that has the labels on there, and so you just gotta pull them off and stick them where you want. So it saves you time and effort there. And you can, hey Pablo, what's up, buddy? Hey guys, Pablo Chavez in the house. He's one of the guys that helps me run some of my cons when he has some time available. Awesome guy, great guy. Give him a shout. So, location of this interest right here are a little bit more dabble-ish, right? So it's more of like, you run into something and it's kind of interesting, right? Maybe you do this thing. It's like, oh well, I'm gonna take a note on that, And so this gives you this, or it can be like a mine, or it can be like this, that, or another, right? As you're creating, you're gonna come up with that, right? You're gonna come up with little things that maybe pop in your head, right? And you're like, oh, I should write that down. And then you can flush that out later. You can erase all this stuff, man, and flush it out later. And then finalize, when you're happy with it, write it in pen, and you're good to go. So then it comes down into some dungeons, right? So similar format, right? It breaks down the dungeons a little bit different. Ties to the story arc. Maybe you have a story arc name that, say like on Critical Role, they have the Briarwood arc. If you've seen that stuff on Kickstarter where they're starting to animate their series and stuff like that, which is super awesome, super pumped for them. Great group of people. Hope they do great, and hope we get an awesome TV show. I'm down to binge watch some D&D anime. So yeah, you'll see stuff like tricks and setbacks, main enemy, rewards, traps, other risk, other rewards. And you'll see the kind of the five-step dungeon here. Hey man, what's up? Roscopes, Anthony over there. He runs a bunch of sculpting for you. If you need something custom sculpt, or you need a wagon, or you need who knows what else, man. He's the guy. He's a cool, awesome guy. Does it all by hand, and yeah, we'll get it to you, man. Let's see what else. Yeah, so you'll have like traps, and this is more like, obviously this is not where you're going to write down the long list of traps that you're going to spring on people, but maybe you're doing some Googling and you're looking around and you see a trap and you're like, oh, that's cool. This is where you're going to write that trap down, and that way you can reference it back, or maybe remember to print it out before the session or take more notes on it. And again, there will be more notes after every page. And there's little spots, note pages that are actually, while you're running the dungeon itself, right? So there's this guy here, right? And then you got more map for yourself, and it's got some creature name and some health point tallies. And obviously, I can't give you everything. Creature name there, brief description, some really quick stat blocks if you're making some custom stuff. And all this is, like I said, again, I'm trying to fit all this in one page. I'm trying to give you as much on one page without making it where you can't read it. Like even right down here, the creature name, brief description is starting to get a little small. It's still possible, still doable, but I'm also going to do an entire set of pages to where this is maybe where you just put the quick stuff. You know what I mean? And you print out the page or whatever, right? All right, DM Misha. See you later, buddy. DM Misha runs a kids club over there in Florida. Great guy. Has a bunch of kids that he helps through his community and, supplies them. We hooked them up with some bunch of cool, awesome stuff, which we were happy to do. If you ever have a kids club or you ever need something from me for kids, man, I got two beautiful kids. I love my kids. So if you guys ever need something from me for kids, I will gladly donate as much as I can to you guys. May not be everything that I can, because obviously, money and stuff like that. But seriously, if you guys ever got a kids club and they're short on something, they need this, that, or another, man, I'll dive through my resources and I'll find, if I can't give it, then I'll try to find someone, who can, and everything like that. As I've learned, with people, I've created relationships with, groups and things of that nature. So, yeah. Anyways, back to the stuff. Yeah, so there's several different kingdoms in this version, right? And the winner of the giveaway today will win this version. And I would love to get feedback from you on this, guy. So there's that. So it keeps going with the cities and towns and dungeons. You know what I mean? And this is a very loose version, very early test print. So I just wanted some feedback from you if you do win this, and hopefully it goes to somebody who actually does this kind of stuff. I really hope it does. But either way, even if you don't, I would like some feedback over the overall quality of the item. Okay, so that is all of the. No, it's not. I'm sorry. We are also working on another project, which I will not reveal yet, but it does involve some character art you may have seen with some D20 looking characters, the classes. But I won't reveal too much because it's still in process. We're getting 3D models now. We're super pumped. Okay, so I want to give a couple thanks and shout outs real quick to Alex Wilkinson. He's from Great Britain. He's an artist that is awesome. He's worked on the decks of Magical Mystery redos, and we really appreciate him and all the work he's done. He's also done the class decks for us, the class magic item decks for us. Teresa Guido, she's done several projects for us, including Dissection 1 and 2. She's a great artist. She's from Italy. Great lady, fair priced. We love her to death. She's done great. Yeah, please give it to Damon, please, because I love you guys, but you don't dive into fantasy that much, other than maybe watching on some Netflix. And lastly, on our artists, thank yous, we want to do Ronald Leon. He's been seriously working hard on the comic book for Sewers Below. He's got amazing art. He's from Argentina. We're just like a big family from around the world. Seems like England, Greece. I've already mentioned like 5 countries in the last 30 minutes this video's been going on. Okay, so lastly, the special thanks that I want to give to some peeps. To Chris Haskins with Nord Games. He's been working with us. He's going to take our tier 1 through 4, our Totally Wild Magic decks, Deception 1 and 2, I believe, and he's going to add those to his repertoire, his catalog, so to speak, and he's going to help us market those to people. He's a great guy. I'll support all the projects from now on, just from him even reaching out to us and helping us. You know what I mean? It means a lot when you're running some little small company that is no name or barely has 3,000 likes on Facebook. But I mean, still, we're a skid mark in the world's panties. So I mean, that's the truth. But we're excited to do things, and we're excited to work with him, and hopefully rising tide will rise all ships. So super thank you to Chris Haskins and him at Nord Games and his crew. Chad Erdhart, again, I'm sorry I butchered it, probably did. DM Zune, he actually wrote the dungeon that is included in Dissection number 2, the Carnival, and he took a very twisted, kind of almost dark, cynical route to it. Great guy. I think I accidentally ran into him on one of these videos like this, or it was like on a giveaway or something like that, and we've been talking ever since. Great guy. Call him a friend, for that matter. I've never met the guy, but they've done nothing but support me and help me, and I've sent them tons of awesome stuff to test out, and I love seeing them on the stream and playing with all the stuff and giving me shout outs when they don't have to. So thank you guys for you and the Roll20 girls and all the people that you guys drag to your table and stream for us. And lastly, Mark Reed over there at Noble Dwarf Printing. Got to meet Mark finally. He was going from California to South Texas here, and he was actually going to stop there in Waco and pick up some stuff that he needed to do. He was actually able to do Lubbock Con with us this year. We actually just happened, everything worked out perfect, that we ended up with an extra piece of booth because someone didn't show up, and he was able to come in there and zip up and set up shop for a little bit. Got to have the weekend with Mark. Noble Dwarf Printing, they're going to do some awesome stuff. We got lots of projects out, and look forward to him. I think he's got a Facebook, and great guy. So if you ever need this information, just let me know. I'll hook you up. Okay, so enough of the boring stuff, right? Which that may have been more entertaining, to be honest with you. So as of today, you will of course get the World Creation Notebook, the sample set. This is again the sample, so give me a break, guys. You will get a wonderful set of dice. And because we're talking about what we're talking about today, you will get a mouse pad of my fantasy world. Yep. So that's cool. So maybe if you got a nerdy computer that you're missing a mouse pad on, you're probably not because you probably have 1,000 mouse pads. Listen, they did a deal. I wanted some extra mouse pads. I couldn't pass it up. I got like 15 of them for like nothing. So, I mean, I'm sharing the love here, people. Okay. So that is the giveaway. Now, you're probably wondering, what the hell's the question? I ain't telling you yet. That's just, we're not done. Yeah. I'm going to drag you all the hell with me. Come on. Okay. Don't judge me for vaping either. I'm sorry. Used to smoke. Vaping's cheaper. It is. I'm gonna die anyways, so whatever. I need that mouse pad. See, mouse pad is useful. Cool. So there is that. I mean, I just think it's a super cool little item, and it's got some cool little art, and I like maps. So there's that. You can't tell I like maps. If you saw my apartment, you would know this. It's got maps everywhere. All right, so today we will be discussing the importance of note-taking in RPGs or tabletop. So we all know that note-taking is terrible. It ends up being ridiculously construed, mismatched, and misshapen. You will take the DM's words and you will twist them in a manner of trying to jot down as much information as you can quickly without taking your time away from either your cell phone, your conversations, or your overall shenanigans that you're up to at the table. Speaking of, if there is downtime at the table, you can actually, order Disception and get the PDF or the physical copy, and you have actually games to play while you're at the table. Almost plug. But anyways, so we're gonna carry on with the jazz, and so the importance of note taking in role playing is, I think, very super overlooked. I think most people glance over it, glaze over it, and that's part of the reason why I wanted to make these guys. Number one is I've been playing more and less DMing. I was realizing that my note-taking skills were terrible. And I was like, I constantly yearn for organization, but I'm terrible at organizing. Like, I can't do it. You know what I mean? And so with this, the character journal thing we're doing, and we're hoping that fixes those issues, my issues mainly. And there's got to be at least one other person in the world like me or similar. Let's hope not. But anyways, so the importance of note-taking in D&D really can strive down to the efficiency to add to the game. So this adds the efficiency to the game in many different ways. Because as a player, you're going to be paying attention a lot more because you're not going to miss the good plug. Yeah, see? You're not going to miss a lot of the good components that you would normally miss because you're over there on your phone or you're over there, not paying attention and not taking notes. I'm not saying this is like a college class or something like that. I'm just saying, like, there's going to be a lot of stuff that it can be overlooked, but when there's something important, you should probably jot that down. NPCs, areas of interest, naming locations. If the DM says something along the lines of, yeah, it's kind of east of this one place, then he probably doesn't care about it or doesn't want you to go there or doesn't have it really flushed out, right? Yeah. So Ashley apparently takes great drunkenness notes that I cannot imagine that went to the attraction of Strahd at all, because she was probably like, hate Strahd, but put love in a drunken rage. Who knows? Fantasy character, right? Anyways, so it overall grabs the efficiency of the game and adds a lot to it. So when the DM says something and drops that name drop again, you can immediately go back and correlate that to the actual individual. And instead of having to repeat, it's a dwarf male, 4'2", 150 pounds, brown hair, has one Viking bead hanging down on the left hand side. The other side is actually loose, looks disgruntled. He looks a little bit roughed up. And the next time he tells you that he's much more cleaner cut, or maybe that's going to jog a story plug, or maybe give you maybe he or she is trying to give you a, hey, maybe this guy got into something he wasn't supposed to, and we got roughed up a little bit, and maybe that's why now you have a chance to lower a DC because you took good notes, because you're like, oh well. And honestly, DMs are going to stick their foot in their mouths a lot. They're going to say stuff accidentally and not even realize they said it because they're just trying to drive the game. So that being said, it's a tool for you to use against the DM when they're backwards or they got mixed up, because we're human too, man. We might make a fantasy world, but I mean, we're human. So there's that. So that being said, it also helps the DM, right? It helps the DM stay truthful to what his he or she's original idea was, and keeps them moving forward in the right direction. If I'm a DM and I'm messed up and I said something one time, and then I'm like, oh, it was actually an elf, but you're like, no, 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 it was a dwarf because this person, this time, this place. Good note taking leads to that, and gives you that advantage in the game. You can have advantage with D20s all day long, but the real advantage is being a disciplined player and taking the notes like you should. Opinion. So again, that's also going to stop unnecessary delays on you as a player, as a DM, as a table, as a group. So again, going back to that thought of like the DM having to re-explain an NPC or re-explain, and of course they're going to anyways. They're going to give you those little bit of plugs, a little bit. But when you have to say, "Hey, wait, was that guy? I think we met him like 4 sessions ago. He had dirt on his nose. I think no, that was not that guy. That was." And then see the rabbit trail. You go down, and next thing you know, you're all kinds of mixed up, right? Hey, Tony Barron, nice to meet you, man. I don't think you've been on my stream before. Stay tuned. You could win some stuff. Yeah. So stops unnecessary delays like that, because I mean, you got to take breaks. You got to go to the bathroom, stuff like that, right? That makes complete sense. But also, when you're at the table and you're in the session, you need to be in the session, I think, because it's a game, man. Like if you're playing Monopoly and everyone's missing their turn, Monopoly, next thing you know, families are torn apart and, children are given to sacrifice to Cthulhu. So it is what it is. Monopoly's a whole different board game, though. It's terrible. Don't ever play it. Tears families apart. So there is that portion with unnecessary delays that get prevented, right? And I really think it adds a lot to the format and to the game by being able to be immersed when you're immersed or when you're in the game and you're developing. Hey, you're good, Anthony. No worries, man. Yeah, well, don't worry. You'll see it on the Facebook. You know how I post things constantly to annoy y'all. Thank y'all all for commenting and liking stuff, though. Appreciate it. So it keeps you more invested in the story itself. So work is force times distance. So the story is kind of like the distance, and you're the force. If you're applying the force into the distance, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm trying to correlate physics to this crap for some strange reason. But if you're trying to, actually input a little bit of work into the situation, into the story, into the development of this world as well, then you're going to become invested in it. And anytime you're invested in something, you will, hey, Abe, what's up, big guy? That's the guy who got introduced me into D&D right there. So OG right there. Good dude. Hope you're doing well, brother. So when you're invested in something more than just say financially, or more than just because you want to be invested in it, when you actually have time and headache and handache invested in something, you're going to more likely pay attention or actually care when something happens. You know what I mean? And I think when it comes down to it, we all want to play that game like Critical Role, or we all want to play that game to where it's just that game you remember forever. I still laugh at some of the things that my characters or my players have, both done to me, and I've done to them as DMs or players. So, it's always fun. It's always good times. So if you stay invested in the game itself, in everything that it is, then you will more likely pay attention better, take better notes, because you already take notes, and now you have this organization tool that can really help you. So that it makes the DM feel special. You know what I mean? Like, hey man, fluff our feathers a little bit. If you're a DM, I mean, we like our feathers fluffed. We're not chickens, but we still like our feathers fluffed. Okay. We like when people tell us, hey, I really like the session tonight. Hey man, I really like this character that you created. And when you give them the feedback about the character they created, they're like, oh, hey, this guy actually paid attention. Or you actually might help them point something out that maybe that character is important to you, and now they can use that against you or for you. To be fair, I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, I would probably use them for both reasons. Most likely against you. Sorry. But I mean, that's true though, because that invests you into that character, and you become invested in that character, right? Just is what it is. So that leads me to another point, real quick. So a table scribe. We all know the individual that likes to take notes, or either doesn't like to take notes but just got stuck doing the job because they happen to be writing most of the time, and so they become the table scribe. I don't necessarily disagree or agree with this concept or having this concept. One of the reasons why I agree with this, because all things are now consolidated to one individual or one person. Because now, instead of having 40 people, writing the same notes and stuff like that, they could get misconstrued 4 different ways. And the whole deal with, like, you tell a person a story, and that person tells 2 people a story, and those 2 people tell 2 people, and next thing you know, it comes back to the original. It's not the same story. So I think you can get into that kind of, hey Brandon, thing with note taking as well, is to where, like, no, I think it was this. I wrote down fat dwarf. Well, no, he wasn't fat. He was just fluffy. Well, no, and you get these little habitual arguments about things that don't really matter overall. But with that, the scribe, there's one person, there's one area of interest that you got to focus on, and that creates that content, right? Also, you may have an individual at your table that doesn't necessarily like role playing necessarily. Like, they're not much of a role player. They maybe like throwing some dice, but really don't, or shy, bashful, and maybe they have really good handwriting. That can give them a job to make them feel important during the session, during the game, because there's a little bit of pride in taking notes. There's a little bit of pride of handing these notes over into everyone else, and they're like, oh wow, these are nice notes. If you've ever been to college and you've seen the classes, and that one person who takes really good notes that everyone wants to copy over because, like, they have really good notes and it's easy to read, while yours look like hammered dog shit. Yep. So it's that person. You know what I mean? Like, that may give someone a job. That it makes them invested in the game, and they actually love doing it. There's not a thing wrong with that. So again, more precise notes gives an individual a job. And one of the reasons why I don't necessarily like it, might not catch all of it. If you're like me, I'm half deaf anyways, so I can't hear anything. I may not catch all of it, or I may not write all of it, or write different notes, right? And so therefore, they may be good to have 2 people taking notes so that they can maybe compare and contrast later on, if they so too, or before the session when everyone's showing up. Like, hey man, what did you get for this still here? Or hey man, what did you do for this still here? It really adds that dynamic to where you have 2 people taking notes, to where it's a check and balance essentially. But it could also lead to confusion as well. So, misreadings from one source. Okay, so guess what time it is? Giveaway time. So if you've ever joined these sessions before, I do a giveaway, try to give away stuff every time within reason, right? So what you will win today, if you answer the following question here in just shortly, the first one to post in the comments of this still will win this wonderful world creation test beta version of our book, and the fantasy world of my world. What's this thing called? Mousepad, and an awesome set of dice for you. And who knows, I may throw some more stuff in there. You never know with me. I can't do that. But that is what you're going to win today, right now. Here's your following question. What fantasy world did Gary Gygax create that drove most of D&D from the year of 72 to 08? Some of you probably think that's super easy. And I will continue on. So the first person to post that in the comments will win. Dilly dilly. All right. Anyways, so that's my giveaway. So hopefully someone will win that soon. Um, so overall, with the taking notes concept, you should take notes and pay attention to the game itself. I mean, you're there to play a game. Get off your damn phone. I mean, I know there's tablets. I know there's accessories on your phones, man. But guys, you hate your phone. You know you hate your phone just like all of us do, but you can't because you can't live with it. You can't live without it. I mean, it's just one of those things we have to deal with. I mean, there's good parts and there's bad parts, but when we're becoming a zombie nation that's glued, and I'm not any better than the rest of us, guys. I'm not. So there's that. But pay attention, guys, and that's why I love tabletop games, and I try to steer away from the screens because honestly, I stare at a screen all day, anyways. Usually, either TV, laptop doing homework, or whatever, right? Um, and things of that nature. So there's that. You know what I mean? So go back to the original, print out some papers, get you a notebook, write your stats down, or maybe even pick up this guy when we get ready to have it. Hmm? We think that's going to be a super cool tool. We really do. We hope it is. No one's answered the question yet. Oh, really weird. I'm going to say the question again. What fantasy world did Gary Gygax create that drove most of D&D from the years of 72 to 08? That is the question again. So first one is posted. Post in the comments. Gets it. Um, Pay attention to your DM. They're working hard, man. Well, maybe they're not working hard. Now, and I get the correlation to like say a actual physical model that you created yourself, and say a module that you're using to run, off of a certain world someone might have created. Comment below. But I mean, still, it's nice if you pay attention and say some stuff. Um, Damon will want one. Oh yeah, I'll make sure he gets one too as well. Don't worry, because he's a lot like me in that aspect where he loves creating. So the DM worked hard on this project. So help them out. Help them by helping yourself overall. Again, when you invest in something, it becomes more important to you that it's a game. Now it's time with my friends, time with my good buddies that we get to roll some funny shaped dice and have a good time. And I think lastly, what I'm going to leave you with is think if the roles were reversed. Think if you had put all this time, energy, sometimes money, um, and all of a sudden you're at a table and you ask a question and everyone's like, I don't know. Well, I think he was an elf. He's actually like a furbolg or something, right? Um, ask the question again. Just make sure you guys are getting it. What fantasy world did Gary Gygax create that drove most of D&D from the years of 72 to 08? And it's probably the most iconic D&D fantasy world classic. Um, may or may not involve a color. Yeah. Okay. So so think that the roles were reversed and you weren't able to play the game because the players didn't care enough to take notes and enjoy it. I mean, you're there to have fun, but you're still playing a game, right? You're there to beat the DM essentially. I mean, within aspects, right? You're there to role play and beat the challenges the DM put in front of you. And yeah, so that's all I got, guys. I mean, hopefully someone will answer that question very shortly. Um, so that was the importance of note taking. I hope it was about 25-minute little session of discussion. Hope I didn't grill you too bad. If you're a bad player, you know who you are, Greg. I don't actually don't know what Greg if he's a bad player or not. But yeah, so there's that component of it, right? And I appreciate every single one of you guys, family, friends. Love all you guys. You guys are great. Thank you for supporting me. Thank you for helping me. Special shout out to Armando, Lucas, Damon, Chris, Sadie, even Stephanie in some aspects for allowing me to either A, steal your husbands, B, come over and bloviate about stuff to your husband and have him help me, come up with some crazy idea or think something out. So, I mean, there's Ashley Chavez, which is Lucas's wife. Thank you. She came over and cosplayed this last time, did a really great job. Did Mermaid, Ariel off of Little Mermaid. Super cool. Lorraine Cruz, Armando's wife, did a great job of doing what's the lady off Fairy Tale? I don't know. The blonde with the keys. That one. Sorry, I'm not always the best names. She did a great job. Really brings vibe to the cosplay thing. And no, Abe is not changed. It's not the original Abraham. It's not the original game, sir. It is the one after Chainmail, sir. And it is the Fantasy World. I think Chainmail was the game rules, I believe, right? So you're close. You're on the right track. Again, what fantasy world did Gary Gygax create that drove most of D&D from the years of 72 to 08? So I popped the question again. Again, this is what we're giving away. Stuff, book, a mouse pad, and some dice. Could be yours. You just answer the question of what fantasy world did Gary Gygax create that drove most of D&D from the years of 72 to 08? Lucy, thank you, Shelby. Yes, it was most definitely Lucy. Yeah, so I'm just trying to wait for someone to answer that question before I stab off of live. You guys, I'm surprised. I thought that was kind of an easy one. Maybe there's not a whole lot of D&D guys on here right now. There's Shelby, Stephanie. I mean, you guys like D&D and stuff, but y'all guys really don't like D&D. Yeah, so this last con, Midland Con, Permian Basin, my buddies Armando, Lucas, Damon showed up. He actually lives down there now, and his wife and his kids will be joining him soon. He was able to show up for a little while and help us out and just hang out and have a good time. Levi's up here in Texas now from Florida, so he was there for a little while. It's getting exciting, guys. It really is. So we got tons of content, man. I just can't create enough stuff. All right. Well, if I hit the next 2 hour, if I hit 1 hour, I'm gonna call it off. I'll give the name, and then I'll hold this stuff up for next time. Then, so if you want to win this stuff, you got to give a name. If you don't want to win it, then that's cool too. But then I'll just save it for next time. I love sweet tea. Love sweet tea. But yeah, so we're super excited for some things. Got some more people coming in. Guys, if you want to get on the giveaway real quick, all you got to do is name the what fantasy world did Gary Gygax create that drove most of D&D from the years of 72 to 08. It's a pretty understood name in the world. Yeah, that'd be cool, man. That'd be cool. He picked up a book, I think, at the con. I don't remember what book it was, but it had to do with Cthulhu. He got it like 40% off, so it was a really good deal even. Can't beat that, right? You're saving a little bit of money on something you really want. But yeah, so there's that portion of things. Yeah, that was Midland Con was pretty fun. Next con we will be at is Yellow City Comic Con here in Amarillo, Texas, where we are headquartered right now. We're looking forward to it. We got a lot of people going there. We're going to have our traditional 20-foot booth. We'll be selling dice. Hopefully we'll get the laser back up. We got a new one coming anyways. So there's that. It kind of sucks, but it is what it is. Hopefully we'll have that up and running and be able to produce more stuff. We should have our dice boxes, dice towers, dice. I mean, just all the stuff we usually create, guys. If you've seen our booth before, then good. Castle Blackmore, close. Abe got it. Greyhawk, there it is. Greyhawk is the answer. Abe, will you send me your address and stuff, please, sir, so I can send you some of these little nice goodies, my friend, so that you can have these. It was Greyhawk was the name I was looking for. Yes, that is going to Abraham Chavez. I'm sorry, I didn't see your comment, Abe. Don't yell at me. Oh, man, I saw hers first, and I glazed over yours, and hopefully you guys would have corrected me on that for messing that up. But anyways, thank you for joining us, guys. That's all I got. This video will be going on YouTube for you to watch for some strange reason why you would watch it. I don't know. We're looking forward to having these guys coming to y'all soon. It'll probably be a quick starter and mostly just so I can get feedback from you guys about things that I need to change or add or take away. And that's really why I want to kickstart it more so than, anything else. Because I just need y'all's feedback, and that's one of my most important avenues that I know I can get. I have people invest in the projects, then I know I can get their feedback. But anyways, I'm going to go start doing some homework. So I did an hour-long video with you guys, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Sorry, I just talk and talk and talk, and it's pretty boring. But hope y'all enjoyed it. Abe, send me your address. I don't remember it. All right, I probably have it, but I don't know where it's at. But anyways, so long for now. Y'all have a wonderful rest of your week, and enjoy the rest of March. Bye.